First and foremost, welcome to both of you to Bangalore, and my good wishes for your film that's releasing soon.
Thank you.
So, for start with my questions. So, this one's for you. Now, why did you decide to make a film like The Vaccine War? I mean, why do you think it was important, and do you think you will be able to find audience for this particular film?
So on a lighter note, we make so many unimportant films. So I thought it's also important to make one important film, but that was a joke. But seriously speaking, you know what happened that when COVID came, the entire world shut down for the first time, and everybody was thinking only about death. Then suddenly, after 7 months or 9 months, the vaccine came and we are back to normal, and we forgot about it. We forgot that who are those people who gave us life again. So in Hindu culture, anybody who gives you life is like God. But even if you don't call them God, for a variety of reasons, in my mind they were superheroes. And most of them were women scientists who made this vaccine. So I thought it's very important to capture this story in cinema and tell the world that how the new India, the modern India, is now not just saving lives of their own people, but we gifted this vaccine to 101 countries and saved lives of disadvantaged countries also.
Okay. So what is it that we can expect from the film? Because during the COVID times, everyone were glued to their TV screens. So what is it that you will tell us new that we haven't read about or seen? What can we expect?
In this film, what you'll see, nothing you have seen and read.
Okay.
What you have not read and seen is what I'm showing in the film. Okay. How the international pharma lobbies were wanted India to fail in vaccine project so that their vaccines can sell here. How our own people wanted more and more people to die so that they can attack the government, and they thought it will make the government fall. How there was a lobby which was being paid by these pharma lobbies, and they were advocating to blackmail Indian government to buy foreign vaccines. This will also, so this is what I call the India Can't Do It gang. And at the same time, how some scientists were working for humanity to save our lives, which I call India Can Do It gang. None of these facts, people may have little ideas, but you don't know what has gone through into making this vaccine. And that is better than any fiction or any thriller.
So I'll get to the questions about the government and the pharma companies in a while. Talking about the casting, man, if you could tell us, about, you're there in the film, you play a woman scientist as well, going by the trailer. Could you tell us a little bit more about what all characters can we expect in the film?
So, as Vivek said, it essentially deals with the scientists. So, all the characters that you see in the film are actually real scientists. We are using real names. Nana plays Dr. Balram Bhargav. Dr. Bhargav was the Director General of ICMR during the COVID time.
Okay.
And all the other scientists that worked under him, the Director of NIV Pune, Dr. Priya Abraham, Dr. Pragya Yadav, Dr. Sri Lakshmi. So all these scientists are featured in the film, and we've used real names. We've shown the entire struggle that they've gone through. And the most challenging thing in this casting for us was that we're not talking about history that happened 500 years ago. We're talking about something which happened
recently,
2 years ago.
2 years
ago. And hence, it was very important for us, while telling their story, to cast people who look like them. So that people, when they go and Google them, and when they surf the internet and try to find out more about the scientists, they find this,
similarity,
and then they completely identify with the scientist the minute you read about them, because you've seen them on screen. So taking lookalikes for the part was a big job for us, and I think to a great extent we've been able to succeed in that. Along with that, we also managed to get together a team of not just people who looked like the real scientists, but also very good actors. And that is where our focus normally remains, because we do not do star-driven films. We work with performers, we work with people who understand cinema and are committed to the craft of acting and filmmaking. So it was a little tough choice, but then in the end, I guess we were successful.
And now that you're in Bangalore, I must ask you this. What made you to cast Saptami Gowda, our Bangalore girl, in the film?
Saptami, I think Vivek, when he saw Kantara, he was very impressed with her. And there is a character of Dr. Sri Lakshmi who actually did all the experiments. And for that character, Vivek was looking for someone who um, comes across as a very responsible person, but still being very young, has that vulnerable quality. And that's when, Saptami's name came up, and Vivek was like, yes, she's the one I want. And Saptami, I must say before Vivek talks about her, uh, I think she's an extremely wonderful actor. Uh, at the beginning of her career, if she's being able to deliver the way she has in the film, she has a long way to go. Provided she gets good characters, she gets good directors to work with. Most of her scenes are where she's wearing a mask, so she had to emote through her eyes, and she did a great job of it. Very dedicated. She sat down with Vivek with every single line, and she said, "This is what I'm thinking of doing. Do you want me to do anything different? Tell me what you've thought, then I can add that thought to this." So she's very open to the director's suggestions, and yet she comes with a lot of homework on the set. So I think that is a very admirable quality in an actor.
So I was just reading one of your interviews while commuting to this place, and you spoke about how there was a premiere for scientists in the US who watched this and they congratulated you and the Indian scientists for pulling off such a great job. Now, what do you think, sir, according to your research that you've done, helped Indian scientists to pull off that, one of those first vaccines to come? I mean, what difference did we have, or what edge did we have?
See, I think there are two, three things. Number one, that India is technically more advanced than ever. Second thing is the resilience and the positive attitude. And Dr. Balram Bhargav, who's the Director General of ICMR, on whose book this film is based, he wrote a book called Going Viral. He decided to take the leadership and he said we have to make our own vaccine. And he displayed amazing leadership qualities. And he led this team of scientists. I think that was great management of making of the vaccine. At the same time, he inspired people, and whenever needed, he scolded people, fired them. You will see in the film what role Pallavi is playing, Dr. Priya Abraham, and everybody was scared of him. And so I think it was from the top, the leadership, the vision, and the teamwork, the collaboration, and the willingness to change, adapt to new things. And I think the best thing is that they did not care about the critics because there was too much of opposition. Everybody wanted us to fail in making of the vaccine, but they kept a very positive attitude and they succeeded.
Yeah, so my next question was actually based on this. In the trailer, we see a few journalists and a few other maybe activists who said we cannot do this or we cannot pull this off. And you've shown that in the film. But as a filmmaker, don't you think that journalists had the right to put out those questions because it was a matter of life and death for nearly 1.4 billion people? So how do you look at that?
See, putting out question is one thing, accusing somebody is another thing. And hoping for somebody to fail is another thing. So why? I mean, tell me something. If in such a big crisis, if scientists and everybody is trying to make vaccine, who knows their job better? The journalist knows that better.
Obviously.
Right? And just 2 days ago, that journalist somebody asked her, and she has not even studied science. She never went to a science class. And she calls herself a science journalist. And they wrote fake articles. And therefore, Telangana court ordered for them to pull down their articles and ask them to never write on Covaxin. So these are not asking questions. This is spreading rumors and creating wrong narrative. You must have read what happened recently. Hassan Minhaj, day before, that comedian. Now it has come out, all the stories he was talking were fake. Everything he was saying was a lie, just to create sensational stories. And that's what this journalist did. Otherwise, why would the court order them to take out 14 fake articles? And if the court was wrong, then these journalists are always screaming free expression, free speech. Then they should have said something. They never said anything. They tried to cover up this news of Telangana court, the order, so that nobody gets to know because they are guilty.
And asking questions, I think, is one thing which the journalist has a right to. But given the extraordinary times that we went through, trying to create a parallel narrative that the vaccine created may not be a vaccine at all and you could be just injected with water. And in general, creating vaccine hesitancy. If the scientists hadn't managed to make that vaccine within the given span of time, this kind of false articles, this kind of spreading the fake narrative could have cost India a lot of lives. And what you don't realize sitting in your air-conditioned offices is that you could then be called a mass murderer instead of a journalist. So any profession that you are in, you have a great responsibility on your shoulder. And if you understand that responsibility and then ask probing questions, it's more than welcome. But when you're definitely doing some things with an end goal in mind of creating vaccine hesitancy, not letting the Indian vaccine program go through, then it's definitely done with malicious intentions.
Does the film explore the legal complications that Bharat Biotech went through and the things that they confided at the Supreme Court?
No, this film is focused. It's a very focused film. See, COVID, there are lots of things are involved. Leadership is involved, manufacturing is involved, Bharat Biotech is involved, serum is involved, frontline workers are involved, people who vaccinated are involved, vaccination drives are involved, then all that Ayurveda industry is involved. So there are so many things which are involved in COVID. But we cannot address everything. The film is only about making of the vaccine inside the NIV lab, which is ICMR NIV. It's only about that's focused on that. For me, it's a superhero film. It's an achievement film. It's like winning a World Cup and saving humanity. So therefore, we have not gone into all those areas.
Okay.
It doesn't mean if we have not covered, they don't exist. Everything exists. Everybody has played a great role. Everybody is a superhero in this story, but we have focused only on scientists.
But one thing that you mentioned to me about US scientists, have watched the film. A US-based agency called Stats Report.
Yeah.
They had actually put out a report which said that Bharat Biotech or the manufacturers of Covaxin were under severe political pressure to come up with some sort of a vaccine to basically, like you mentioned earlier, to basically, save the government and at the same time, make build a brand image for themselves around the world as well by exporting those vaccines. So, did you think that they were under some sort of political pressure? Because everybody knows it takes at least 3 years for a vaccine to come out.
No, this is not true. Okay. What everybody knows may not be true.
Okay.
Everybody knows what they are informed by ill-informed people.
Okay.
Second thing, to answer your question, first, if there is a lot of pressure on anybody to make the vaccine, which is a good pressure, there is nothing wrong to put pressure. Even you can put pressure on your cameraman, do it fast. It doesn't mean that your intentions are wrong. So putting pressure is not a bad thing in a crisis like this, number one. Second thing, what Stats has written is their opinion. Maybe they understand India better than we do. So it is their personal opinion. They can write anything. Third thing is, why are we allergic to the word government?
Yeah.
The moment we say government, we think there is something wrong. Why? Yeah. I don't understand. I mean, it's like if whatever your parents tell you is wrong. I mean, this government also works for the benefit of the people. How 130 crore people are surviving in this country, how poor people are getting subsidies, benefits, how metros are coming, how are you flying? I mean, look at your life. You are sitting in, your life is better than what it was 5 years ago. So government doesn't mean bad word. Yes, politicians can be bad, but government doesn't mean politician. When we talk about government, We are also talking about millions of IS officers, clerks, secretaries, overseers, engineers, people who clean the street. I mean, why do we use the government so lightly and we just say government is bad? Government is bad means the person who's cleaning the road for you, the traffic inspector who's saying go or not, people who are doing work for you, the frontline workers who are vaccinating, the pregnant women who are climbing mountains in Ladakh, people who are crossing rivers and vaccinating people, the nurses and doctors and all these hospital beds, people are being treated, planes which are flying every day, the rockets which are going in the air. Do you think this is all wrong? I think it's time we stop looking at the government from a negative lens. When government does something bad, we should say it's bad. But we are surviving because there is a government which is doing. So I think it's like a mother who does everything for us and still we don't care about her. I do not belong to that kind of mindset.
So,
Sorry, to continue, there are two more things. One, about how long it really takes for a vaccine to be made is answered in the film. So you can see.
Oh, yeah, it's in the film.
And secondly, if, as you say, there was pressure, and under that pressure, they decided to just put out something, as some journalists said that.
No, it happened with Pfizer.
Injected water. So if India had come up with a substandard vaccine, then we would have started seeing the negative impacts. I'm sure all the countries that we have given the vaccines to would have reported some fatalities. The kind of density of population that we have here, COVID was bound to go around more, and we would have had more fatalities.
Actually, our vaccine turns out to be the safest vaccine.
Yes, in fact, Pfizer is being now.
So that is, that is also a thing, a practical thing to realize that it was not a bad vaccine which was made in the end. They made a great effort and they made a good vaccine.
Okay, I'm sorry, this is, I'm not going to take this in the interview, but I'm just going to tell you because while coming here, I was just reading about
fine.
As to how,
you should, it's your job, you should be
okay, as to how they skipped phase 2 clinical trials.
Phase 3.
They started with phase 3 even before the phase 2 results were out.
So there's nothing wrong with that. What's wrong with that?
That is also answered in the film.
That's a very, actually India did it's a very clever thing.
Okay.
I mean, there is nothing which says that you can't do them parallel. Instead of doing them one after another, they started doing parallel. It's the same thing. It's a smart thing to do.
They pushed it.
Yeah.
Okay. So, your critics often accuse you of one thing, and there's one allegation.
Yeah, please feel free, don't smile.
Your recent films are pro-establishments. What is your take on it?
Can you just see there are different kinds of critics, which group are you talking about?
So I'm talking about, let me just talk about the Tashkent files and the Kashmir files. Okay, so I read ma'am's interview in one of the articles where you claimed that Lal Bahadur Shastri was a Congress leader. So how is it a pro-establishment film? I understand that, but the Kashmir files received a lot of backlash. And now let's talk about the vaccine war. Now, whatever you claim or show in the film, it would be like that the government did a great job by pulling this off. So that is why some critics say that you're pro-establishment.
Some critics means who are not in the government. Means Congress.
Obviously. So
Congress.
It could be the Congress or
Congress is a party of losers. They never like to say anything good. India wins cricket match and they are upset about it. Yesterday they were very sad and depressed that India won the Asia Cup. So what can I do about that? I mean, it's okay.
Okay. One of the reasons why they also make those allegations is because when the Kashmir files released, the film was made tax-free in close to 6 BJP-ruled states.
Tax-free is a constitutional law.
Yeah.
And there have been hundreds of films which have been tax-free. In India, there's so many films which have been tax-free. Delhi government, AAP government made so many films tax-free. Congress keeps making films tax-free. Congress has made the maximum number of films. What is wrong in making some film tax-free? I don't understand. Just because these days, because we kept quiet, did not say anything, okay, doesn't mean that they are right. I mean, blaming somebody doesn't mean the person who's blaming is right. Tax-free is made so that more and more people can see a film against terrorism. so that people believe in humanity more. Have you ever tried to look at things from this point of view? It wasn't a film which was promoting terrorism. It was anti-terrorism film. And Indian government's policy is zero tolerance to terrorism. You were saying something.
No, I was just saying that I don't understand why everybody is so against any film being tax-free. Forget that it's Kashmir Files. Who does it benefit in the end? It benefits people who are going to watch the film in a theatre. The tax that you pay over and above the price of your ticket is just taken out. Hence, you get to buy that ticket at a lesser rate. When you buy the ticket at a lesser rate, the collections at the box office also get reduced. So if my a film is going to do a business of 100 rupees at the box office, the end result would be that my film would only do 70 rupees at the box office. So my figures are going to look diminished because of that, the freeing of the tax. So where is the problem if the makers don't have a problem taking lesser money? Where is the problem with the other people? I don't understand what this entire thing is about. Any film being tax-free is about. In fact, I should be the one saying that tax-free mat karo. I want to earn more money from the film, So I don't understand why everyone is up against this.
I have only one answer to all these critics. Like Mr. Modi said today in the parliament, ये अब ये रोना धोना बंद करिए, थोड़ा अच्छे से खुशी भी बनाइए, अच्छी बात चल रही है.
Last two questions before I let you go. I'm not sure about the exact numbers, but I was just surfing the internet when I figured out that the Kashmir Files made in close to about 350 crores. I don't know if those numbers are true. You guys would know the exact numbers. But then both of you face a lot of brickbats saying, you've made a film on the Kashmiri Pandits. What have you done for the Kashmiri Pandits? Now, and I read your answers as well as to what you've told them, that it is between you and them. And, the third person should not intervene and all of that. But don't you think if this film does well, The Waxing War does well and makes similar amount of money or much more, you will be questioned again as to, what would you be doing for the welfare of Indian scientists?
They will keep asking. I told you, ये रोना धोना बंद करिए, बहुत अच्छा है. Actually, I believe that there is a after Dangal, okay, they gave a lot of money to
the
wrestlers, and अभी after Jawan and after क्या नाम था पहला film Pathan, all the martyrs of Raw have been paid out of 1,000 crores, maybe few hundreds of crores, no?
Okay.
So why nobody asks questions? I mean, this is stupid. And there's a difference. I mean, whatever money we earn, we are putting in our films.
Yeah.
Okay. And do people realize? I mean, this is a stupid question. I don't want to answer that.
All right. So my last question to both of you. What would you tell the audience to keep in mind while entering the theaters?
No, let me answer that question. Actually, it should be answered now. You know what they want?
Yeah.
They want Kashmiri Pandits to sit in one corner with the katora and become beggars. And they want us to sit next to them, be beggars, then they will be happy. Okay, but people have to understand one thing, that the job of the film was to create awareness. The job of the film was to rattle and expose these people who help terrorists in this country. Only those people are asking this question, right?
Yeah.
One has to identify. Questions cannot be, see, as a journalist, you are a wonderful journalist, but questions cannot be asked only to us. Questions should be asked to those people who are asking questions. Why are you asking this stupid question? Next time when somebody asks, you ask them that why are you asking this stupid question?
And also the Kashmiri Pandit community doesn't need any arms.
Correct.
In spite of everything that happened to them, the way that community has fought back, and with the sheer power of education, they have reached places which is unimaginable to those left behind in Kashmir. Their children, the community that left, now they've grown up and their children are now working in NASA. They're big-time lawyers. They're working in, they're big engineers. They're working in tech companies. They're great educationists. While all their contemporaries who were in school with them are not educated and because of the poor infrastructure in Kashmir. So there is no comparison there. They don't need any money. What they needed was a recognition, because this thing was swept under the carpet for 30 years, 33 years now. Nobody knew. In fact, I didn't know until I started the research. So the need to create awareness was supreme. And when these things started coming out, the Kashmiri Pandit community is extremely hurt by this statement. And they have been issuing statements saying that we are not poor, we don't need any money, we don't need arms. What we needed has been given to us, so please stop spreading these, lies. Everybody keeps talking about it without understanding what the gravity of the situation is, where the crux of the problem is. And hence, there is no point in even paying heed to these people. Like tomorrow, as you rightly said, if they're going to ask us if we are going to pay the scientists, then how do we make the third film and expose more truths about India? Or are we supposed to shut up again? And that's exactly what they want us to do.
Anyway, it's a stupid question. Yeah.
So, final
Not from
question.
your side, people who are asking.
Okay. Finally, my question: what would you like to tell the audience who would want to watch this film? What can they expect?
Okay, so there are 2-3 things. Number one, you have to understand that science is a very big field, and it's not just information technology and rocket science. The virus which made us think about death and the vaccine which saved us from that death is a field called virology. And so it's a very important science. Bioscience is the future of the world. I want with this film parents to show it to their children so that they get inspired and they believe in bioscience and virology, and they help become part of our future. Second thing is, I want people to believe that yes, India can do it. And the third thing is that you will, after seeing this film, you will start believing how empowered our women are, especially women scientists and Indian women. And I want to appeal to the audience to at least buy one ticket for their maid servants. So if they buy for maid, because she's also somebody's mother, it's about her empowerment also. And I think when it comes to women empowerment, these maids who work day, night and educate their children, and they're educating their own daughters, they are very empowered people, and we must celebrate them.
I would just say, go to the movies. It's a good, clean Indian movie based on Indian values. In the end, you will get out of the theatre feeling great pride for your country. You will see the emancipation of women and society at large. And you will walk away as a very happy person from the theatre. So please take an appeal to the audiences that please take your children, because this imagery is something that they should grow up with. They should see a victorious India, they should see a new India, they should see a confident India, so that they grow up to be an extremely confident citizen themselves.
Sure. Both of you, thank you for your time. Thank you for the interview.
Thank you.
It was wonderful talking to both of you.
And wonderful talking to you. You are wonderful. Great. Thank you.